already know that Peppa Pig references other famous cartoons and even anime. Did you know that there are other shows that do the opposite and reference Peppa? For example, in the show Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. Did you know this show was created by the same people behind Peppa Pig? So, it's no surprise there are multiple references between the two shows, right? The first reference actually connects both shows and even has ties to the real world. In Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, there's a recurring character who's a fan favorite, Captain Redbeard, the pirate. This pirate is super charismatic and helps Ben, Holly, and their family solve various problems. For example, in one episode, when kids start disappearing, he goes into an enchanted basement and gets everyone out safely. The connection between him and Peppa Pig lies in the name of his ship, which is called Pedro. In Peppa Pig, there's a character named Pedro Pony, and the reason Captain Redbeard's ship is named Pedro is that the original voice actor for both Captain Redbeard and Pedro Pony is the same person. But it does make you wonder if Captain Redbeard is really a true pirate, since pirate ships are usually given female names. Maybe the rules for elf pirates are just different. Speaking of Ben and Holly, there's another quick reference in the episode where Holly finally gets to act as the tooth fairy for a human. If you look closely in the corner of the bedroom, you'll spot a doll that looks suspiciously like a very familiar piglet. So grab your favorite stuffed animals and let's investigate all the fun references other shows have made to Peppa Pig here on Zigzag. Craig of the Creek is a fantastic Cartoon Network show that tells the story of a boy named Craig and his two best friends, Kelsey and JP, as they embark on adventures in a fantasy world centered around a popular creek where all the town's kids hang out. However, in one particular episode set indoors, Craig faces the daunting mission of defeating his dad at their favorite pastime, a fighting game. Craig's dad is an absolute pro at the game and destroys him every night, leaving Craig frustrated at being a total noob, since he can't play video games whenever he wants and is only allowed one match after finishing his homework. Craig is determined to improve. He seeks help from his friends, who try to train him, but he's caught in the act by his dad. Later, his dad feels a bit defeated after Craig finally wins a match by mastering his favorite character in the game. It's a wholesome episode about healthy habits a father and son can share. And it gets even better when Craig's two siblings join in the virtual brawls, turning it into a 100% family hobby. But the Peppa reference? It makes me wish this game were real. In another episode where the fighting game is mentioned, we see its cover art featuring characters not shown during gameplay. In the corner of the cover is a familiar piglet, or rather, a super jacked version of Peppa. This Peppa is absolutely shredded, with bulging muscles and an intense, angry expression. If this game existed, I'd absolutely main Peppa just for the hilarity of it. The next reference comes from an adult cartoon with one of the wildest, most forced Peppa references ever. Of course, we're talking about Family Guy. In one episode from season 18, Peter's wife, Lois, takes on the role of a teacher for local teenagers at Quahog High School. Lois runs into trouble with a rebellious teen girl who's super rude and constantly causes problems. Her rebellion escalates as she grows angrier with Lois. The girl is later found dead in a car crash, and Lois is blamed for her death, even going to jail. It's up to the other characters, along with Joe, the wheelchair-bound cop, to solve the mystery of how Lois supposedly killed the girl. But there's a plot twist. It's revealed that the girl faked her own death, using a pig's body in the driver's seat to pass as her. She even put a blonde wig on the pig. Joe remarks that this was the strangest house call he's ever made to deliver bad news to a family. In the final scene of the episode, Joe climbs a very familiar hill, knocks on a door, and we see Daddy Pig and Mommy Pig answer. That's when we realize the rebellious teen killed Peppa and used her body to stage her own fake death and frame Lois. It's clear the writers challenged themselves to craft this overcomplicated plot just to set up a joke about delivering bad news to Peppa Pig's parents. Now, I've got a challenge for you. I dare you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel in just 3 seconds. Whoever manages to do it and comments, "I did it," will get a shout out and a heart on their comment. As As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom is full of references to Peppa Pig, and this one couldn't be left out. In the episode The Royal Fairy Picnic, Holly's family is preparing for a special day where they'll all enjoy a picnic together. While they're having breakfast, the king warns Nanny Plum not to use magic jelly for the sandwiches. He's trying to avoid a repeat of last year's disaster when she accidentally flooded the entire kingdom with sandwich jelly. During this whole discussion, if you look closely at the paintings hanging in the dining room, you'll notice one of them depicts a very familiar house sitting atop an incredibly steep hill. It's Peppa's house. Subtle, right? Would you hang a painting like that in your house? Let us know in the comments with the hashtag #painting. This reference is by far my favorite. Robot Chicken is another adult animated comedy series, known for its no-holds-barred parodies of all things pop culture. In their parody of Peppa Pig, they got super creative, imagining it as a British crime film. Fitting since Peppa Pig is made in the UK. From Peppa's over-the-top British accent to the mannerisms and swearing typical of gritty crime movies, the parody is spot on. They were clearly inspired by one specific movie, evident from the title of the episode, Lock, Stock, and Two Smokin' Pigs, a nod to the 1998 Guy Ritchie film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. The story is hilarious. Peppa and Susie are jumping in muddy puddles when they accidentally splash mud on Zoe Zebra's stuffed monkey. In this version, Zoe is a full-on crime boss and threatens to turn Peppa into bacon if they don't replace the monkey. And, of course, the only solution is an armed robbery. Obviously, as with any good heist movie, the criminals assemble a team, and the roles they gave each Peppa Pig character are pure genius. Emily Elephant is the muscle. Molly Mole is the tunneler. Gerald Giraffe is the lookout because he's tall. George Pig is the whiny scaredy cat, the character that every crime film has. And, true to form, George ends up cracking under pressure and snitching about the whole plan to Daddy Pig. Here's where the Two Smoking Pigs part of the title comes in. Peppa pulls a machine gun out of nowhere and turns Daddy, Pig, and George into Swiss cheese. And the best part? When this video was uploaded to YouTube, it got hit with a copyright strike from the creators of Peppa Pig. To me, that's all the proof I need to consider this parody canon. If the creators wanted to claim the video for monetization, they must have felt it was that close to the original. The next reference is just in dialogue, but it happens in the movie Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This movie was the surprise hit no one saw coming, leaving kids and adults alike amazed by how fun and hilarious it turned out to be. The Peppa Pig reference comes from the backstory of Ellie, the film's lead detective. Ellie is trying to rebuild her career after a major mistake she made in the past. She explains that the police sergeant doesn't trust her anymore because the year before, when Peppa Pig went missing, she acted on a false, anonymous tip that led the police to raid the Nick Jr. studio. During the raid, the Paw Patrol crew was ready to fight back and opened fire on the police. Things got so intense that one officer, as Ellie mentions, will never be able to have kids again because he took a shot right to the family jewels, if you catch my drift. Now, here's my completely baseless theory that I just made up in my mind. In this world, where animated characters are real actors, Paw Patrol is a corrupt militia hired by Peppa to escape the Interpol after gunning down Daddy Pig and George in the Robot Chicken episode. Does it make sense? I guess. Kinda. Shut up! The most subtle and darkest Peppa Pig reference we have in another adult animation comes from Animunch, an Australian series by the same creators as Bluey. In this scene, Peppa is consulting a doctor who tells her she has a rare bone condition that could be fatal unless she undergoes immediate surgery. This is a joke referencing Peppa's odd anatomy, with both eyes on one side of her face and a big snout sticking out of her forehead. The doctor insists she must have the surgery, and Peppa nervously asks what would happen if she doesn't survive the procedure. The scene abruptly cuts to the outside of a butcher shop as the narrator says, Peppa didn't survive and was sold to the local butcher. Thanks to her, the town was well fed for several weeks. I don't know about you, but as dark as this is, I have to admit it made me really hungry. Time to go grab a bacon-loaded meal. See you later!